Hello. The author I chose to do my project on is J. Patrick Lewis, Pat as he's known by his friends. This is one of his more recent projects that he's been working on. This was a book commissioned to him by National Geographic, where they took pictures of nature, as National Geographic is known to do, and they asked Pat to put poetry in with the pictures. So while this is a children's poetry book, it's very intriguing, it's very eye-catching, it's very satisfying. I believe people of all ages would enjoy a book like this. And throughout our poems, while Pat did put this together, National Geographic did want some different poets represented, anonymous poems. Here's one that he wrote about fall. A good old shape poem there, like a tree. This was one of my favorite books to read, and I'm still going to keep it after this project's due, and just to enjoy it more versus reading it for an assignment. This is my handout. I did print it in black and white to save my printer some color. I made this in mind of giving to students. So in this corner we have his awards listed. We have a portrait here. This is Pat with all his books. I have some background information and then advice from Pat, as well as some of Pat's books that with the caption, "Have you read me?" So some of his background information: Pat was actually a twin born 20 minutes after his brother. He's technically the middle child, as he does have a younger brother. He grew up in Gary, Indiana, and in 1974 received his PhD in economics from Ohio State University. From there, he went straight to teaching at a local college in Ohio and taught economics for 20 years. And when he was around 40, in his late 30s, 40s, he discovered poetry. But he couldn't quit his teaching job yet. So he continued teaching for about another 10 years, and then he retired from his college and started writing poetry full time. Of course, by the time he did retire from the school, he had already written and published about 10 to 12 books. Pat also has 3 children and 2 stepchildren. His family was the first family a part of the U.S.-Russian exchange program, so he has been to Russia several times, about 20 times, and considers it his favorite place to visit. Because of him being in Russia so many times and getting familiar with that culture as well, he does have several books about Russia and Russian culture and things like that, Russian folklore, which is different. It's unique because how many American writers write Russian folklore? But that's one of the things Pat wanted to be known for, he's still alive, was that anything can become a poem. He actually has a book. One of his other books is Everything is a Poem, and he likes to be known for the depth in which he can write about. So he's written about everything from baseball to nature to famous people in history, of the civil rights movement to singers, the first man on the moon, anything that he cares to write about. It's not stuck on one thing. Animals, one about a bee, the first woman in space, anything and everything is a poem. One that he's most known for about his poem on books is called Great, Good, Bad. A great book is a honing device for navigating paradise. A good book somewhat makes you care about the comfort of a chair. A bad book owes to many trees a forest of apologies. So he likes to be known for his difference and being his wordplay, being unique with poetry. Another thing I enjoyed about Pat was his ability to, one of his other books that he does is called Keep a Pocket in Your Poem, where he takes classic poems and he makes playful parodies out of them. And not to be disrespectful, he even says in his foreword that my intentions was not to try to write better poems than the original. All credit goes to the wordsmiths who inspired me. But what fun and what a challenge it is to take well-known poems and echo it by tweaking and twisting it to make it new. One of my favorite in this collection is his comparison of Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost on the one side, and then on the other side is Stopping by a Fridge on a Hungry Evening. And it takes a playful twist of coming upon some very nasty surprises in the refrigerator. But that is what this whole book is about, is taking and just tweaking poems and making them kind of his own. He also likes to make a point in one of his video interviews that poetry is all the same. There's a lot of many themes. We're all just rewriters of each other's work. As I am not a writer, I cannot attest to that. But he likes to be considered, well, yes, he is a children's poet that he hopes it covers all ages and all spectrums and all genres, which I feel like I might be a simple person, but I feel like his poetry can give that meaning to all generations. And he also makes a point about how America as a country is one of the least poetic nations, where we would be hard-pressed to name a couplet or a poem or anything. And so to be able to write poetry that would be interesting and to be intriguing to others is great, is his goal. So the book I'm going to read is called Big is Big and Little is Little, A Book of Contrasts. I'll try to make it so we can see it all. Big is big and little, little, if you are somewhere in the middle. Short is short and tall is tall, if that means anything at all. Fat is fat and thin is thin. Some curve out and some curve in. Sweet is sweet and mean is mean, and I know which way I lean. Young is young and old is old, pink and blue or silver and gold. Cool is cool and hot is hot, depending on the spot you've got. Back is back and front is front, if you ask the elephant. Slow is slow and fast is fast, something just went whizzing past. Long is long and short is short, says the latest news report. Mad is mad and sad is sad, if you disobey your dad. A cry's a cry, a laugh's a laugh. I prefer the second half. Bald is bald and hairy's hairy, shiny smooth or very, very. Down is down and up is up, from the standpoint of a pup. Day is day and night is night. One is dark and one is light. Earth is earth and sky is sky. One's to walk on, one's to fly. Hello, hello, goodbye, goodbye. So that was Big is Big and Little is Little, A Book of Contrasts, written by J. Patrick Lewis. The activities I was thinking about for the classroom would be one that Pat even challenged himself was to take a poem and to rewrite it with the use of a dictionary and thesaurus. Another activity would be to think of an experience in nature that you would like to share via poem and have the children come up with their own poem. Doesn't have to rhyme. They have to figure out what kind of poem they'd like to do. So anyway, those are some of my activities for the author presentation for J. Patrick Lewis. And my name is Victoria. Thank you for watching.